And welcome back to another Forbesy Gunners show. Let's cue the intro. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Huge thank you and welcome back to our current subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that to see more from Forbesy, myself, and the Forbesy Gunners show. Following Mikel Arteta's press conference this morning, there were a couple of comments that came out that were, one, surprising. Number two, I have my own comments about what he has said and what now other people are saying. And I thought I would start with Thomas Partey. I think this is the biggest bad news for us, and that is simply because he has been ruled out, at least for Sunday's match and probably the Europa League fixture on Thursday. I don't think he was going to play in the Europa League fixture anyway, but apparently he picked up the injury against Aston Villa early on in the game and tried to play through it, and of course was then substituted in the second half. A huge loss for us, naturally, and of course now Mikel said they were going to be protecting him a bit because of course once you've busted out the bank and spent 45 million to get him in, you don't really want him to be injured. So fair enough, and we wish him a speedy recovery, because he is part of the so-called Arsenal spine, which is now inspiring Arsenal fans the world over. Second point, Abumeyang, of course, also has been playing, the whole team was held up in Gambia, I believe, and they were all kipping on the airport, which I think is quite funny, if I'm honest. I think it's very ironic, and when you've been a famous footballer, perhaps in the cushioned English Premier League, and having to sleep in the Gambia airport, I'm sure was quite an adventure. So well done, Abuma, you've done yourself a favour. Welcome to reality and real world travel. Saka the man. He has been having an amazing bit of form for the English side. Well done. However, he played another 90 minutes yesterday, or the day before. Yeah, now played, I think Jack Grealish is the only other player who's played more minutes than him, and I am in the thinking that perhaps Arteta's going to be resting him, and this will get to, I'll end today, stick around for the starting 11 prediction, because my first prediction, of course, now Thomas is out. I have my doubts about Saka, and I even have my doubts about Abumeyang starting as well, just because of the amount of game time he's had and the amount of travelling he's done. We will see, so stick around for that. But my next point is all the big news with regards to Willian, who went on a little holiday, apparently, to Dubai. And I have no problem with people traveling. He had an international break. He can go where he pleases. The man is not in a prison. I think people are like panicking because he left. Was it perhaps not the brightest thing to do to travel during COVID? Absolutely. But he can still do what he wants to do. He's a normal human being, and if someone was telling me I can't do this or can't do that, then I would also be a bit, let's not take away people's personal freedom here. I think that's a touchy subject, so I'm not going to get too much into it because I don't like to speculate on news. So Willian can do what he likes. I think Arteta was not so happy with him, but yeah, get real. Like, this is the real world. Players can go where they like, and you can't control them every second of every day. 365. Yeah, if Willian said that he had business to do, which I think many footballers of the modern age probably have to do, then let them do that. Another point I'd like to raise is the comments that Tony Adam has been making, that did make, I think it was a Sky Sports interview, and he was talking about bringing back all the importance of Mesut Ozil, considering our lack of creativity, and that he should be brought back to play in the squad. Here's my honest opinion. Tony Adams, you're the man. Love you long time, dog. But honestly, you want to bring back Ozil? Like, I've got nothing against Ozil, but I would way rather see Saka playing in that creative role. Way rather see Danny Ceballos. I'd really rather see anybody playing in that creative position than Mesut Ozil. At least from the perspective that I had when he was finishing up his time at Arsenal, he hasn't had great form. He's had a few really good matches, I would agree, but consistency, negative. And right now, I think Arsenal and Arteta are really striving for consistency. If you can't be consistent, cheers. Like, even if you and Mesut Ozil. And I didn't really know how to first take the Tony Adams comments, because of course it's a man I hugely respect, and I have absolute legend. But to hear him made me think about it, and I'm not saying my comments just off the cuff. I went back, I looked at some highlights, saw the whole thing play out again in my head about his story at Arsenal, and I truly perhaps we give him a hard time because he didn't really have the supporting players around him over the last few years. But still, I think we have to bury those ideas about him coming back. For me, that door is closed, and if the more we keep bringing up the Ozil thing, the more I don't see Arsenal going forward. Almost positive that we won't see any more of Mesut Ozil unless something drastic happens. But those are my comments about what Tony Adams was saying. Lee Dixon also had an interview and was talking about the fact that Mikel Arteta should stick to one formation instead of changing all the time, and trying to give specific roles to individual players so they can develop themselves in those roles and really take up those positions. Could not agree more. And I was so stoked when Arteta, I read an article that he was saying pretty much the same thing after the Aston Villa loss, where the whole world came crashing down. He was basically said, and I'll paraphrase here, that it's easy to give up on everything if after a bad loss like that and think that everything is wrong or that you must change everything. And basically at the end was like, I'm not going to change too much, because he believes in the process that he currently has. So one, I think that's fantastic. I think definitely stick to the current formation of the 3-4-3. I think the 3-4-3 is easily adaptable and changeable, and currently we have those players. We were exposed to the likes of Jack Grealish and Ross Barkley in the Aston Villa game, absolutely 110%, and I think we'll learn from that. I think our wing-backers were out of position from time to time. I think our front three on attack were too wide, not allowing the wing-backers to really utilise the space out wide. When we look back on Unai Emery's time and the number of goals that he scored, they scored a lot of goals under Unai, and one of the key factors in those goals was that the front three played very narrow, which gave those wing-backers the space to use. So when I think about Hector Bellerin, Kieran Tierney moving into those space out wide and putting in some good crosses, hey, even those guys like to come up and have a good shot on the goal as well. So very, very positive moving. And as well, I mean, there's been some back and forth about Hector Bellerin and his form, but really Maitland-Niles is also a very good player. He could play there, and Saka can play that outside back role on the left when Tierney either needs a break or gets injured. Praise God, doesn't happen. Did you know, by the way, that Kieran Tierney's t-shirt is the most sold Arsenal t-shirt this year? Just a fun fact. Anyway, thinking about buying myself one. Those are my thoughts about the formation, but how do we fix it? I think it's a huge loss on having a Partey for this weekend. I would have loved to have seen him back in the team starting and making sure that he is defensive minded. I'm really bleak that Mo, he's currently still in Cairo, and I'm not sure when he's going to be back in England. Basically, he can only travel when he tests negative, so maybe a while. And Kolasinac as well, although I don't think Kolasinac is the best left back on the whole planet or centre back, which he's been playing a little bit of, I still think he's an integral part of the squad and the depth that we need in order to compete. So it's a big deal that he's not there as well. So we're hoping both of them a speedy recovery and wish them back to the Premier League as soon as possible. So, right, let's get into my predicted starting 11. Again, I don't think this is a predicted starting 11, so it's just what I'm predicting for the weekend. Leeds are a very good outfit at the moment, and it's going to be a tough fixture away. But let's get into it, guys. So I'm again sticking to the 3-4-3 formation. I think Arteta is going to stick with that. The back three will be Rob Holding on the right, centre David Luiz, and on the left Gabriel. Then left wing back role Tierney, right wing back role Bellerin, and the two central midfielders are going to have to be Granit Xhaka and Ceballos, considering Mo's out and Partey is also now injured. The front three for me is going to be, I'm going to put it out there. because I think that they should rest Saka and perhaps use him as an impact player. I think they should definitely bench Laka, use him as an impact player, and definitely perhaps bench Abumeyang as well and bring him as an impact player just to give them a bit of time and rest after the international break. Which leaves me with an interesting front three of Pepe on the right, Nketiah in the middle, and Reece Nelson on the left. That's going to be my front three. So it should be interesting. I hope those all play because I'd love to see Reece Nelson playing in the Premier League again. Pepe has been really off form, and people are saying that Willian should be ahead of Pepe and da 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 da. So here's your chance, Pepe. Get on the field and play. Because in the Europa League, to be honest, you've had 1 assist and 1 goal, I think. Maybe, don't quote me on that, but he's been fairly poor. I haven't seen anything amazing. Yeah, let's give him a chance now against Leeds. I think it's the kind of game where he could be really good. And likewise with Nelson. But the key is going to be those front three communicating and working really hard together. And I hope, given the freedom to move throughout, or to change channels at least to create space. And I think we have a lot to learn from that Aston Villa game. So I look forward to the fixture. I will send out a quick thank you to all the subscribers once again. And if you like the content today, hit that thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.